All right. Hey there. How are you doing? My name is Angel, and I like all things that are mysterious. And we're gonna let the stream run for a minute. I don't know where else fucking shit's leaking. So the AC's on because it's like, you know, we're in this heat dome or whatever they keep saying. So the air's on, and when you have AC on, the fucking vents condensate, right? And I came home from work and found a whole stack of papers just swimming in water. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? It is. I really can't wait for this heat wave to be done. It's getting ridiculous at this point in time. And we still have one more day. Hopefully we get thunderstorms tomorrow and it breaks this heat wave, because that would be great. Wonderful. All right, so we're good. I'll put it there. All right. So, like the title says, these are twisted real life stories, and I put real life in quotations because you have to take it with a grain of salt. People can lie, whatever. Supposedly they are real life stories. They're not my stories. I found this on the Esquire.com website. So, because I was just trying to find some. I know, all week. Isn't that insane? Oh my god, all week. It's so insane. But, let's see. It says 13 terrifying but true horror stories reported in the news. It says from fatal exorcisms to unexplained deaths and devil worship. Of course they had to bring devil worship in there. These are some real life nightmares. Like I said, these aren't my stories. This comes from the what was it, Esquire.com website. But I was just trying to find some twisted stories so I don't think about, you know, what's coming this weekend. So, let's get into this. It says, horror movies can give a fright, but so can a good ghost story. Suspense is all about timing and gullibility. And if you can pull off both, you've got a hit. But what happens when the lines between fact and fiction start to blur? You often hear stories of people claiming that they've seen ghosts, aliens, and other supernatural beings. If you've turned on the local news, you've definitely heard about a grisly murder or two. Sometimes, is there a beginning to this? Okay, there is. We're almost there. We're almost to the stories. Sometimes it's a story even Stephen King couldn't dream of coming up with himself. I don't know about that, because he came up with The Shining and look at the Stanley Hotel. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Wow. So I just got off work. That's why we're starting late. Usually these are supposed to start at like 8 o'clock. I tried, but I picked up hours and I had to work till 9. So here we are. We're just going to run through this, okay? But I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate it so much. So it says Stephen King couldn't dream up of coming up with himself. That's when you start trusting in the strange. Once in a while, a story of a dreadful disappearance, demonic possession, or town full of devil worshippers will land in the local paper. Whether it's real or fiction, we often never find out. Oh, you know what? I forgot to turn the light on again. There we go. Come on. Come on. You're just gonna sit down there and meow? On the toilet as a joke? Is that how it happened? I thought they said that it was because he had a very vivid nightmare while he was staying there, and they were like, him and his wife were the only ones in the Shining Hotel, and he had this dream that a snake was coming after his son. But I don't know how that story would have came up with The Shining anyways. That actually makes more sense. Sitting on the toilet, that makes more sense. As a joke, I can believe that. I can totally believe that. That makes more sense than the story I heard. Because I was like, who's gonna come up with this story when... Where are you going, Zeusy? You're just gonna turn your back on me. You walked over here, meowed. I know. Okay, so let's get into the story. Come on. Here, lay down. There you go. There we go. There, get comfortable. Yes, we're gonna be here a little while. Alright, once in a while, a story of a dreadful disappearance, demonic possession, or a town full of devil worshippers will land in the local paper. Whether it's real or fiction, we often never find out. Maybe they're crazy. Maybe they're right. You be the judge. Oh, we will, because I'm sure it's going to be something that's going to be off the wall. It says below, we've rounded up the most unnerving real-life news tales below. In honor of spooky season. Oh, I wish it was spooky season. You know, I really wish it was spooky season. That'd be great. But anyways, here are 13 we can't stop thinking about. Oh, I know this one. I bet you know this one too. It says the Enfield Monster. So in 1973, a man in Enfield, Illinois, told reporters that he saw a weird little creature lurking in his yard. Wait, that was in 1973? Wasn't there a story about that little... They said it was an alien. But I don't think it was an alien. But it was like all over the news and stuff. But anyways, let's get in. Okay, we're just going to keep going. Per the Mount Vernon Register News, resident Henry McDaniel stated it had 3 legs on it, a short body, 2 little short arms, and 2 pink eyes as big as flashlights. That's one hell of a description. It had 3 legs. 3 legs and 2 short arms and 2 pink eyes as big as flashlights. I don't know what that could have been. Well, anyways, the police later found scratches on the door screen and footprints that looked like dogs, but with 6 toes. If they do find it, Daniel said in the newspaper they will find more than one and they won't be from this planet. I can tell you that. Huh. To this day, no explanation has ever been found. I don't think that's the story I thought it was. That is definitely not the story I thought it was. Anyways, next story. The Suicide Hotel. Didn't know there was a suicide hotel either. In Colombia, that explains it. The Hotel del Salto, I'm sorry if I didn't say it right. You already know. Has more stories as one of the most haunted places on earth. More than it does actual tenants. Turned into a museum, the hotel was designed by designer, they put that in there twice. The hotel was designed by architect Carlos Arturo Tapias back in 1923. I wonder if they meant to do that. Overlooking the, Tequendama Falls. 1000% I'm sure I said that wrong. The views were said to be spectacular, but guests kept getting a little too close to the falls. Let's see. Translated to Hotel of the Leap, the Hotel del Salto is full of stories of people leaping to their deaths. Now, is that like that bridge where the dogs jump off the bridge and they're like, they call it like, they said that the dogs are committing suicide because they're jumping off this bridge and they don't know what's causing, I don't even know where that bridge is. God, where is that bridge? Well, don't remember where. I feel like it was in England. There was a bridge in like England where the dogs were jumping off the bridge and like committing suicide. It was like a big thing. God, was that England? I don't remember exactly where it was, but that's what this kind of reminds me of. According to local legend, the indigenous Muisca tribe escaped from Spanish colonizers by leaping off the cliffs some centuries before. The Axe Murder House. We know about this one. I want to go there so bad. In fact, I was just watching some YouTubers that had went there. And it was funny though. I don't remember who they were. I just came across it. And they were saying how they had a scary, fun experience there. So I'm super intrigued. I should have watched the whole video, but I was on my way to work. I was trying to get ready to go back to work. I worked a split today. So I worked this morning, and then I went back and worked tonight. So, I don't know. I should have watched the whole video, but I didn't have time. But anyways, the Axe Murder House. So the Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa is a well-known tourist attraction for ghost hunters and horror lovers alike. I love that. The site of a gruesome unsolved 1912 murder in which 6 children and 2 adults had their skulls completely crushed by the axe of an unknown perpetrator was purchased in 1994, restored to its 1912 condition, and converted into a tourist destination. It costs $428 a night to stay at the old haunted home, where visitors always report strange paranormal experiences such as visions of a man with an axe roaming the halls or the faint screams of children. Oh my gosh. But in November of 2014, the haunting took a darker turn. Robert Stephen Lorison Jr., 37, of Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Oh, I wonder where that's at exactly in Wisconsin. Was a regular recreational paranormal visit with friends when true horror struck. Per Vice. His companions found him stabbed in the chest. Was this at the Villisca Axe Murder House? An apparently self-inflicted wound. Called 911 and Lorison was brought to a nearby hospital before being helicoptered to Creighton University Medical Center in Omaha. Wow, when did this happen? In 2014. How come I didn't hear about this before? It says the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office said Lorison suffered the self-inflicted injury at about 12:45 a.m., which is around the same time the 1912 axe murders in the house began. Lorison recovered from his injuries, but has never spoken publicly about what occurred that day. For Martha Lynn, the owner of the home, the incident was very upsetting. It's publicity, but it's not exactly the kind of publicity you desire to have. I don't want people thinking that when they come to the Villisca Axe Murder House, something's going to happen that's going to make them do something like that. The house remains open for tourists days and overnight stays today. And apparently, I wonder if they've had any more accidents like that. That's insane. I never heard that. And that happened in 2014. So 10 years ago, almost, because it was in November 2014. So almost 10 years ago, this guy stabbed himself in the chest. What would cause him to... I swear. I can't imagine. And he hasn't talked about it. And that's the other thing. So, who knows? They didn't really elaborate on it. So anyways, the next one. The Haunted Doll. Oh, is this that one? What is his name? Robert the Doll. I wonder if this is, it doesn't say. But as soon as they said the Haunted Doll, Robert the Doll comes to my mind, of course. Or Chucky. So, when you think of haunted dolls, it's likely the creepy old Victorian-looking porcelain kind that springs to mind. None of which you probably have lying around. Still, don't get too comfortable around any kids' toys too soon. Though, a Disney's Frozen Elsa doll that was gifted for Christmas 2013 in the Houston area made headlines earlier this year when it seemingly became haunted. What kind of Elsa doll was it? Per KPRC2 Houston News, the doll recited phrases from the movie Frozen and sang "Let It Go" when a button on its necklace was pressed. I was wondering if it spoke or not. That's where I was kind of alluding to. For 2 years, it did that in English, Mother Emily Madonna said. In 2014, it started doing it alternating between Spanish and English. There wasn't a button that changed these, it was just random. The family has owned the doll for more than 6 years and never changed its batteries. The mother says the doll would randomly begin to speak and sing even when its switch turned off. Oh, that's just like Chucky. The family decided to throw the creepy doll out in December of 2019. Weeks later, they found it inside a bench in their living room. Oh, I got a story about this actually. The kids insisted they didn't put it there And I believed them because they wouldn't have dug through the garbage outside, Madonna told KPRC2 Houston News. At that point, Elsa ceased to sing the English rendition of Let It Go altogether, speaking only Spanish when pressed. The family then double-bagged the bizarre doll and placed it at the bottom of their garbage, which was taken out on garbage day. They went on a trip shortly after, but when they returned, Elsa too had come back and was waiting in the backyard of their home. This time, the family mailed Elsa to a family friend in Minnesota who taped the haunted doll to the front bumper of his truck. It doesn't seem to have made its way back to Houston yet, as per Madonna's latest February Facebook update on the creepy doll. So, when I was really little. I would say I was like 5 or 6. One year for Christmas, my parents had got me this clown. Okay, this is a two-sided story here because I have a thing. I don't like clowns and I don't like creepy dolls, and it's kind of a combination of the two, and it's because of that clown doll I had. So he was about, yay big, and he had on a hat. Okay, hold on. We're gonna tell the story first. He had a hat, and he had Velcro on the bottoms of his feet, and he had a skateboard that also had Velcro on it, and you could Velcro his feet onto the skateboard, and you could push him, and he would skateboard, right? Well, I started noticing that the doll was moving. Like, I'd put it in the toy box, and the next day it'd be, on the floor, on the other side of the room, or on my desk. Now, you would usually say, well, it was probably one of your siblings. I was an only child until I was 10 years old. My parents are not going to go mess with my doll. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not what happened. But, so, same like they were saying with how they threw it away. I tried the same damn thing. I tried to throw that damn thing away. And it ended up, no, first I tried to bury it. This is the thing. I tried to bury this clown, okay? Because I got creeped out. It kept going. It kept moving in different spots, okay? And I was just a little kid. I was creeped out by this stupid clown. And I tried to bury it underneath my swing set. So you know how, like, when you have the swings, how, like, there'll be that little path or whatever? So I tried to, 5 or 6 years old, I dug a hole and I buried him in there, right? That doll ended up back in my damn bed. And he was not dirty. He was not dirty. I buried him. Not in anything. I threw this damn doll into this hole and I covered it up, okay? When I found it on my bed and it wasn't dirty, I was mind blown. Remember, I'm 5 or 6 years old. Found it on my bed. And I was freaked out, so I took the doll and I went and put it in the garbage can, okay? And I thought that was the end of that doll. I really thought that was the end of that doll. Do you know, years later, okay, I was talking to my mom, and I was telling her the story about the stupid clown doll that they had gave me for Christmas one year. And she's like, oh, I still got that doll. What do you mean you have that doll? Oh, yeah, it's in my wardrobe. What do you mean that's in your wardrobe? How did it get in your wardrobe? When I buried him, he ended up on my bed after I buried him, and then I put him in the garbage. How do you have him in your wardrobe after I threw him away? Well, I don't know. It just ended up on the porch, and we brought it in the house, and I just put it in the wardrobe. So it's been in this wardrobe this whole time, pretty much. You're telling me that I've been living with this doll for years and had no idea. Had no idea this clown was in my mom's wardrobe, okay? Mind you, now, remember, my mom passed away. When my mom passed away, me and my sister had to go pick out clothes for her. And I had to go in that damn wardrobe. And I knew that clown was in there. Because my mom's like, oh, it's on the top shelf in the wardrobe. That made it almost impossible for me to go pick out clothes for my mom for the fucking funeral. I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at my sister, and she's like, what's the matter? And I'm like, we were bawling still. Like, this was days later. We're still bawling, Still have good, bad days. But I'm sitting there trying to find clothes for my mom to wear, and we're trying to decide between, you know, a couple outfits. Which one do we think mom would like the best? And I was like, the one that she wore the most. That's the one that's gonna be. So once we decided that, we picked the outfit, and the whole time that we're looking for an outfit for my mom, I'm just looking at the shelf, and I'm like, Heather, where's that clown? She's like, Angel. I'm like, Heather, where's the clown? She's like, Angel. Well, we ended up having to take the clothes to the funeral home, and I don't remember what else happened that day. There was a lot of crying involved throughout that whole process. For any of those that have been watching me for a while now, you guys know. But that's why I do this now anyways. Like, I'm going harder now because I'm really not trying to think about all that. But I'm scared to go back into my mom's wardrobe and look to see if that clown's still in there, because I didn't see him when we went looking for an outfit for my mom. I have not been back in my mom's wardrobe since then. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. I was back in there, not on that shelf because I know that damn clown's up there. But we were looking for my mom's wedding ring. Okay, couldn't find her wedding ring anywhere. My dad really wants that wedding ring. And I don't know where it is. I don't know where my mom could have hid it. My mom's twin sister told me that when they were kids, they would hide stuff in socks in their drawer. And I told Dad, I was like, well, maybe she hid it in one of her socks in her sock drawer. And he's like, well, I haven't looked in there yet. I haven't bring myself to go through any of my mom's stuff. And I don't know if it's like this for everybody. I don't have it in me. I have went through so much. I don't have it in me. But I've tried helping him look for it in other places. Like, I looked in her dresser. I was specifically looking for this ring. But it's really hard. So anyways, before I start losing everybody talking about all my bad stuff here. But anyways, the next story is, Zeus, go get me something to drink. She's not gonna do it. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab a pop. I'll be right back. Because I feel like I have a frog in my throat and I'm not gonna be able to clear it out. Oh no, I bet you the rest of them are gonna fall too. Well, anyways, Zeusy. Oh, that's better. But as I'm looking at the stream, I'm not on there yet. That's how laggy it is. Just in case you're wondering, like, I'm still not on the screen. And I'm not really sure how far behind it is. I don't really know. So anyways, next story. So we heard about my creepy clown story. We heard about that creepy clown story there too. I don't know which one's worse. Probably my own story because it was my own experience. I think that's what started me with paranormal. Was that clown. God. So anyways, the next story is a deadly exorcism. Now, there's been several deadly exorcisms because usually they'll, what's the word I'm looking for? They will repeatedly exorcise them until they're like dead. God, I can't think of one off the top of my head. Emily Rose. Well, I think that was just a movie, but I think it was based on a real life story and how she was like super malnutritioned and she, I don't know what they did to that poor woman, but she looked completely different. But anyways, In August 2016, in North London, 26-year-old Kennedy Ife. Ooh, is that Ife? Ife? Ife. I-F-E. Ife? Right? Began acting strange and aggressive following a pain in his throat. He reportedly bit his father, threatened to cut off his own penis. Man, we just talked about a story last week where that guy, he cut off his own penis and gouged out his own eyes and choked on an eyeball. Remember that story? What is going on? He threatened to cut off his own penis and complained of a python or snake inside of him before his family restrained him to a bed with cable ties and excessive force. As the BBC reported, the family then set about attempting to cure Kennedy through restraint and prayer over the next 3 days. The court was told, that's what I'm saying. Oh my God. Oh, that guy that did that? Oh yeah, he was in a psych ward or something like that. The story I was just talking about. Yeah, that guy was like, they said that happened 5 feet away from a nurse's station and he didn't make a peep. He cut off his own penis and balls and he gouged out his own eyeballs and then he tried to eat the eyeballs and he choked on it. And that's what killed him. Wasn't blood loss. I thought it would have been blood loss, but he didn't make a peep. He was 5 feet away from a nurse's station. He was seriously messed up. That guy was seriously messed up. I don't know what it was. His brother Colin Ife told police, it's clear that thing was in him. What we believed was a demon because it was not natural. It was clearly trying to kill him, he said. We had to restrain him for himself. It was clear if we didn't restrain him, he could have tried to harm people in our family. That's too bad. Kennedy Ife had been bound to his bed for 3 days without medical attention when his brother called emergency services, explaining that Kennedy Ife was complaining of dehydration. You called emergency services instead of just giving him a glass of water. Okay, he appeared to have developed breathing issues and was pronounced dead at 10:17 a.m. As the Independent reported, while police were at the house, Colin Ife allegedly carried out an attempted resurrection by chanting and praying for Mr. Ife. All 7 of Kennedy Ife's family members were accused of manslaughter, false imprisonment, and causing or allowing the death of a vulnerable adult. A post-mortem examination revealed over 60 wounds, including a possible bite on Kennedy Ife's body, and his father, Kennedy Ife, along with 4 of his brothers, sustained injuries as well. The BBC reported Kenneth Ife told jurors he ordered his sons to take shifts and use overwhelming force, but denied that an association with cults, occults, and secret societies played any part in the death. After a 4-day jury deliberation, all 7 family members were cleared of charges on March 14, 2019. Wow. That is insane. I don't understand. But anyways, next story. Dead animals in the walls. Oh yeah, same. Lorena Bobbitt. Yeah, I heard about her too. She was also not mentally well either. So, dead animals in the walls. Now, that was always a fear of mine. Like, what if an animal got down into the wall somehow and then died, and then you have this decomposing animal in your wall? It's going to make your house stink. That was always one of my fears. Isn't that weird? But anyways, when they're really trying me. Brett Zeus family decided to insulate their home in Auburn, Pennsylvania in 2015. They discovered that it had already been with scores of dead animal carcasses. Shut up. Do you hear this? She's not paying no attention. As Fox reported, the dead animals were wrapped in the newspaper from the 1930s and 40s and were among half-used spices and other items. After removing the items, they sent hundreds of artifacts and carcasses to an expert in Kutztown. The expert attributed the rotting animals and their walls to powwow or Dutch magic. I've never heard of Dutch magic before. Or I'm thinking powwow like an Indian powwow. Like when my mom passed away, we didn't do a celebration of life. We did a powwow. We did a powwow for mom. We did the powwow because, you know, we didn't do a typical funeral. My mom was cremated, so we had to wait to get her ashes back. And because she wasn't going to be there, we didn't find it appropriate to call it a celebration of life. We called it a powwow. Everybody's different. But that at that time, because I told my sister, I was like, I don't feel comfortable calling this a celebration of life because mom's not there. She agreed. We told the family. Everybody was fine with calling it a powwow. I'm just saying, just because one person calls it a potato, another person's going to call it, you know, potato. However that saying goes. You know, not everybody's going to say something that's the same thing. But what is this Dutch magic, though? A ritual originating in the culture of the Pennsylvania Dutch to treat ailments and gain physical and spiritual protection. The Pennsylvania Dutch were a group of German-speaking settlers to Pennsylvania in the 16 and 1700s and are often of Lutheran, Mennonite, or Amish faith. I don't think I said that Mennonite right. Mennonite. 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 There we go. I think I said it that time. The Washington Post notes on the magic. Ooh, let's get into that. Many of the spells deal with the care of livestock, finding water, or the treatment of minor ailments, reflecting the conditions and concerns of early American settlers. But powwow, every time I hear that word, that's what's going to come back in my mind. Just FYI, you might see me make faces, and that's what it is. But powwow also has within it a tradition of darker spells, and even of such things as conjuring demons. One notable ritual in their tradition is this hex to create loyalty in a dog. To attach a dog to a person, provided nothing else was used before to effect it, try to draw some of your blood and let the dog eat it along with his food, and he will stay with you. Is it a smell thing? Is that what they're trying to say? Because, you know, dogs have that really good sense of smell. I don't know. The mold found on the rotting carcasses in the Brett Zeus house has caused illness among the family members, and they say that the odor hasn't gone away. Of course it's not. It's been in there for all them years. That smell is in the wood. That smell is in the wood. And the only thing that them bodies were wrapped in was newspaper. Oh my God. They didn't smell that before they bought the house? I'm just saying. Anyways, Florida devil worshipping. You know, there's always some crazy stories in Florida. Oh, yes. Yep, 30s and 40s would have been the Depression era. Correct. And maybe that played a part in that. I don't know if that was common practice. I've never heard of people shoving dead animal carcasses into the walls of their house. You know, I need to move the chat. I'm so sorry. Well, anyways, we need to bring the chat over with us. So, Florida devil worshipping. We always hear a good story out of Florida, right? Let's get it. Friends noticed that Danielle Harkins, why does that name sound familiar? Danielle Harkins, a 35-year-old school teacher near St. Petersburg, Florida, started acting strangely in June of 2012, developing an interest in demonic rituals. Soon after, she was arrested for abuse of 7 of her former students, as the Tampa Bay Times reported. Maybe that's how. When did this happen? 2012. Danielle Harkins told the kids they needed to get rid of their bodies. Told the kids they needed to rid their bodies of demons as the group gathered before dusk Saturday around a small fire near the St. Petersburg Pier. I've never been there before. They should cut their skin to let the evil spirits out, police said she told the children. Then they needed to burn the wounds to ensure that those spirits would not return. So they're just going to do more damage to that poor wound. When Harkins held a lighter to one teen's hand, wind blew the flame out, police said. That prompted her to douse his hand in perfume before setting it on fire. The boy suffered second-degree burns, police said. Oh my God. Another teen was cut on the neck with a broken bottle, police said. Harkins used a flame to heat a small key, which she then used to cauterize the wound. Shut up. She cut him on the neck with a broken bottle. This woman was torturing these poor kids. The police were notified because a friend of one of the students who participated in the ritual raised alarms. Well, good, I'm glad somebody did. However, none of the students themselves told their parents about the event or would comment following the arrest of Harkins for aggravated battery and child abuse. NBC reported, investigators said they've spoken to Harkins, but she didn't spell out what type of religion would require such drastic measures. She hasn't informed us exactly what she was trying to accomplish with this. That really looks like putz, but I don't think that's putes. It's probably putes. Of the St. Petersburg Police Department said. Well, oh, I know this story. So the death of Elisa Lam. I don't know if you know this story. I know this story. I've heard so many people talk about this story. I've seen it on the news. I've heard a lot of stuff about this story. And it's a very, very weird story too. Like, how is it that let's get into this story because I'm sure they're going to explain all that. So Elisa Lam was last seen on January 31st in 2013 in the lobby of the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. It's another hot spot I want to go to, the Cecil Hotel. I still want to go. She was vacationing through the West Coast, documenting the trip on her blog and checking in with her parents every day. On January 31st, those calls stopped. Lam had vanished. Soon the police were involved and her parents arrived to help with the search. What? The parents aren't gonna know. They had nothing. Them poor parents. But I understand. Like, they're gonna want to go because sitting at home and doing nothing is not gonna find their daughter either. But that February, LAPD released elevator surveillance footage of Lam before her disappearance. The footage shows Lam behaving strangely in the elevator, appearing to talk with invisible people, peering around the corner, and opening and closing the door. But what exactly is going on in this video raises more questions than answers. Theories range from psychotic episodes to demonic possessions to unknown assailants just out of the camera's view. Around that time, hotel guests started reported weird thing. God, who wrote this? Esquire? Did they not have somebody come back through here and just make sure that everything was okay? Because I'm having a hard time. Hotel guests started reported weird things happening with the Cecil Hotel water supply, as CNN reports. The shower was awful, said Sabrina Bogg, who spent 8 days there during the investigation. When she turned the tap on, the water was coming black first for 2 seconds and then it was going back to normal. The tap water tasted horrible, Bogg said. It had a funny, sweet, disgusting taste. It's a very strange taste. I can barely describe it. But for a week, they never complained. They was drinking this water for a week? For a week. We never thought anything of it, she said. We thought it was just the way it was here. I would have brought that to the dust's attention. You know, that's why them people are there. You know, just be like, hey, you know, I don't know if something happened or not, but is there any way you could check the water and see if there's something going on with it? Especially because I know what happens. On the morning of February 19th, a hotel employee climbed to the roof and used a ladder to investigate the hotel's water storage tanks. That's where authorities found the decomposing body of Lam. Oh, and she was naked too. So in the footage that there was of her on that elevator, she had clothes on. But she was acting very erratic and weird and stuff, you know, and they don't really know the whole story. But yeah, she was the naked body of Lam, whose personal items were found nearby. After an autopsy, her death was labeled accidental. NBC Los Angeles reported at that time about the strange circumstances in the hotel's past. The tank has a metal latch that can be opened, but authorities said access to the roof is secured with an alarm and lock. Well, obviously it's not, because she found a way on there. The single-room occupancy hotel has an unusual history. Night stalker Richard Ramirez, who was found guilty of 14 slayings in the 1980s, lived on the 14th floor for several months in 1985. And international serial killer Jack Unterweger is suspected of murdering 3 prostitutes during the time he lived there in 1991. He killed himself in jail in 1994. In 1962, a female occupant jumped out of one of the hotel's windows, killing herself and a pedestrian on whom she landed. You know, that's another one of my fears. You remember them old cartoons where they'd be walking by a building and the fucking piano would come flying out and land on them? I have that fear, and it's because of them cartoons that I have that fear as well. So, in February 2021, a Netflix doc called Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel explored Elisa's tragic case in the history of the cursed Cecil Hotel. Well, the Cecil Hotel is on my bucket list, 1,000%. It was on the bucket list before this even happened with her, because it's known to be haunted. That's why it's on my bucket list. It's on my haunted bucket list. So, and I can't wait to start knocking that stuff out. We're working on it. Trying to put all the little pieces together to my little puzzle here. So, an exorcism in Indianapolis. Last year, the Indianapolis Star published a lengthy report on a family terrorized by 3 children allegedly possessed by demons. The account of LaToya Ammons. So I talked about this story a long time ago. God, that was back in the beginning. And her family tells disturbing stories of children climbing up the walls, getting thrown across rooms, and children threatening doctors in deep, unnatural voices. It would seem like something straight out of a movie, a work of fantasy, except all these accounts were more or less corroborated with nearly 800 pages of official reports obtained by the Indianapolis Star and recounted in more than a dozen interviews with police, DCS personnel, psychologists, family members, and a Catholic priest. One of the chilling sections of the report includes a segment about the possessed 9-year-old. According to Washington's original DCS report, an account corroborated by Walker, the nurse, the 9-year-old had a weird grin and walked backward up a wall to the ceiling. He then flipped over Campbell, landing on his feet. He never let go of his grandmother's hand. Another segment of the piece reads, the 12-year-old would later tell mental health professionals that she sometimes felt as if she were being choked and held down so she couldn't speak or move. She said she heard a voice say she'd never see her family again and wouldn't live another 20 minutes. Yeah, I did that story. God, way back in the beginning, the Ammons house. Now, if I believe, wasn't the Ammons house tore down? I'm trying to remember. God, that was so long ago. I believe it's been tore down. I feel like that was the demon house that Zach Bagans had bought from Ghost Adventures. Wasn't that the demon house? I feel like that was the demon house. Well, anyways, Utah murder-suicide. In September of 2014, God, that wasn't a good year. A Utah teen returned to his home to find his parents and 3 siblings dead. In a notebook, a to-do list had been scribbled on the pages. The list looked as if the parents were ready to go on vacation. Items such as feed the pets and find someone to watch after the house were written. The Salt Lake Tribune reported. It appeared to be murder-suicide, but there were no suicide note, no prior indication that they would do this. No explanation. Police could not figure out why 2 parents would kill themselves and 3 of their 4 children. For a year, no one knew exactly what happened to the family or what would drive the parents to do something so unthinkable. In January, police released more chilling details in the case. According to accounts from family members and an investigation by police, the parents were driven by a belief that the apocalypse was coming and an obsession with a convicted killer. As the Washington Post reported, friends and family told police that the parents were worried about the evil in the world and wanted to escape a pending apocalypse, but most assumed that they just wanted to move somewhere off the grid. Investigators also found letters written by Christy Strack to one of the state's most infamous convicted killers, Dan Lafferty, who was convicted in the 1984 fatal stabbing of his sister-in-law and her 1-year-old daughter. According to trial testimony, he killed the victims at the order of his brother, Ron Lafferty. I said it right the first time, said it wrong the second time. Who claimed to have had a revelation from God. The story became a book called Under the Banner of Heaven. Police said Christy Strack became friends with Dan Lafferty, and she and her husband even visited him in prison. Wait a minute. So, is that what happened? It didn't say what happened. Did they ever find out who killed them? Was it the guy? No, the guy was in prison, right? I don't know who did that. I'm going to have to look more into that later. Anyways, the phone stalker. In 2007, ABC News documented a series of phone calls to families with terrifying specific death threats. The unidentified callers knew exactly what families were doing and what they were wearing. That sounds like the Watcher, right? That house where the family was getting the letters and they were sitting there describing the kids and calling them by their nicknames and stuff. Like, that's something else right there. But this is what that reminds me of. The families say the calls came in at all hours of the night, threatening to kill their children, their pets, and grandparents. Voicemails arrived playing recordings of their private conversations, including one with a local police detective. The caller knows, the family said, what they're wearing and what they're doing. And after months of investigating, police seemed powerless to stop them. They didn't call it that, but it sounds almost the same. This went on with I'm not going to be able to pronounce their name, Canal family for months, who reported a caller with a scratchy voice threatening to slit their throats. That is insane. When the Firecrest Washington police tried to find the culprit, the calls were traced back to the Kendall's own phones, even when they were turned off. It got worse. The Kendalls and 2 other Firecrest families told ABC News that they believe the callers are using their cell phones to spy on them. They say the hackers know their every move, where they are, what they're doing, and what they're wearing. The callers have recorded private conversations, the families and police said, including a meeting with a local detective. Oh, and then this is the Watcher story. Okay, so the next story is the Watcher. So this is the story I was talking about. After moving into their $1.3 million dream home, a New Jersey family started receiving creepy death threats from someone who identified themselves as the Watcher, as CBS News reported earlier this year. Since moving in, the owners said they have received numerous letters from the mysterious person. The Watcher claimed the home has been the subject of my family for decades, and I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming, Castro reported. The new owners have several children, and other letters asked, have they found out what's in the walls yet? And I am pleased to know your names now and the name of the young blood you have brought to me. Yeah, that's crazy. The family was forced to flee from their home and later filed a lawsuit against the previous owners. I mean, I don't think previous owners can be held accountable for any kind of harassment you're getting after you purchase the home. I don't think that there's anything they can legally do. I could be wrong. You know, I'm not a lawyer. Issei the cannibal. I don't think I pronounced his name right. Issei the cannibal. Okay. In 1974, 24-year-old Waco University student Issei Sagawa allegedly followed a German woman to her home in Tokyo, Japan, broke into her apartment while she was sleeping, and attempted to cut a piece of her flesh off to consume. When she awoke, she reportedly fought him, and he was later captured by the police. According to a 2012 Vice documentary that covered Issei's bizarre story, he was mistakenly charged with attempted rape, and his wealthy father paid the victim a settlement outside of court to have the charges dropped. 7 years later, in 1981, he allegedly committed a murder in France, shooting and eating a fellow university student, Renee Hartevelt. Issei creepily documented the entire experience with photographs, and he was captured by authorities once again while attempting to dump the rest of her body in the Bois de Boulogne. I cannot pronounce. Anyway, some lake. Okay, can't pronounce. There's no way. I've tried. He was deported back to Japan and committed to a mental institution. Oh, that's why I can't pronounce. I didn't pronounce it right anyways. It's Japan. For reason unknown, his psychologist in Japan declared that he was sane. Furthermore, a legal technicality involving the French government refusing to turn over the documents from his case meant that his murder charges were dropped completely. He checked himself out of the mental hospital and has reportedly been walking the streets as a free man ever since. Issei has even become a controversial celebrity, writing over 20 books. According to Japan Today, he most recently fantasized about an unnamed TV actress, saying, "I'll catch a glimpse of her thigh and think, that sure looks tasty, but I don't feel like I actually want to eat it. As I accomplish the act of cannibalism once, there's no meaning to maintaining the desire for it anymore. In my book, I wrote that human flesh, was tasty, but that was not really true. I'd much rather eat Mazuka or Kobe beef, but because I desired to consume human flesh for so long, I'd managed to convince myself that it would necessarily be delicious." Issei Sagawa was also referenced in the Rolling Stones song Too Much Blood, with the lyrics reading, "And when he ate her, he took her bones to the Bois de Boulogne." I know that's not how it's pronounced. I should have just gave it up. He is currently 73 years old and continues to live in Kawasaki City, Japan. To this day, no one knows why France did not allow Japan to give him a trial. And you know what? On that note, that is the end of this story. I don't even know how long we've been recording for. How long have we been doing this for? Oh, you know what? Oh, it's 54 minutes and we're in the red. So we're going to have to get done here. So anyways, on that note, since the story's done, GoPro's dying, and you know, I've worked 10 hours today, essentially. I'm going to call it a night on this one, but I hope that you have a great night, and I will definitely see you in the next one. I don't think I'm going to live stream on Saturday, and so we'll look forward to live stream next Tuesday, and I'll look for another Twisted Tales to share with you. I knew some of these. I didn't know all of them. It was refreshing to hear something new. So anyways, on that note, I appreciate you for watching this live stream, and hopefully it was a good live stream and I can just upload it instead of having to do what I've been doing, you know, essentially pulling the footage off the GoPro, because it automatically saves to the GoPro. So, but you know, if it's a bad stream, that's what I do. Unless it's like the last live stream. The last live stream wasn't that bad. I think there was one little section, but I still had the footage. I always had the footage. I'm trying to figure out if I should start a Patreon page and start, you know, maybe, I don't think I can upload videos. I've looked into that. They told me that I'm not a part of the creators that can just upload videos, which I thought was stupid, because what is Patreon for if you can't upload videos? So apparently it's about live streaming. Well, I don't want to live stream there and here and then have a full-time job too. I don't have time for that. So I don't know. I really wanted to put the full videos on Patreon, or videos that maybe when I come across, I haven't come across it yet. I think I'm still under the radar for YouTube, because I think they let me get away with more than most because I'm not really watched. So, I mean, I've had like 2 or 3 copyright, and they weren't even strikes. It was because I had copyrighted music playing in the background. So I tried to lower the volume so you couldn't hear it or whatever. I haven't really figured out how to distort things yet. Working on it. But that's the most problem I've had. So I don't know. But if I ever come across anything that they won't allow me to share on here, maybe that's what I'll use Patreon for, is for that kind of stuff. Because I don't have any filters. I don't feel like anybody should have a filter, to be honest with you. If we can't be our natural selves, what kind of world do we live in? Just saying. So anyways, I appreciate you for watching this live stream, and have a good night, and I will see you in the next live stream on Tuesday. And the videos for Friday and Sunday are already scheduled. Oh, we can talk about that a little bit. We got a minute. So for Friday, it's gonna be more stuff for my haunted bucket list, and then Sunday is gonna be 31 bizarre bedroom discoveries. So Friday bucket list, Sunday we're doing some bizarre bedroom discoveries, which was kind of weird. So I'm actually excited about you guys seeing that one, more so than my haunted bucket list. But anyways, I appreciate you. I hope you have a good night, and I'll see you in Tuesday. There's 2 videos this weekend, and then we'll kind of take it from there, because Saturday, you know. But anyways, have a good one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.